Welcome to this new episode of Inside Tulsa Athletics. We'll start off our show today with wrestling and swimming coaches. On our show, we'll have the interviews with the head boys and girls swim coach at Memorial in Edison, Joanna Bentley, and the head swim coach for boys and girls at Booker T. Washington, Adina Meilner. We'll also visit with the head wrestling coaches from 4 of the 6 schools that sponsor wrestling in the Tulsa Public Schools. Those schools this year will include Edison, Hale, Rogers, Webster, McLean, and East Central. Finally, we'll talk with Mick Wilson about the 56th Annual Tournament of Champions basketball tournament presented by Tulsa Tech and played at the BOK Center. We'll also talk about upcoming construction projects for this summer. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Joanna Bentley, the head swim coach for boys and girls at Memorial and Edison High School. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and our first guest today is Joanna Bentley, who is the head boys and girls swim coach at Memorial and Edison. You're awful busy.
I am. I am.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're glad that you're here, and really, I need to add to this that Joanna really saved the swimming program at Memorial, because it was a point where we thought we were going to, when we had the budget cuts, that was one of the things that was on the table, but you stepped up and got the numbers back up, and of course then resurrected the swim program at Edison, which had gone away for 2 or 3 years when we did away with the pool over there and everything. But so how many years have you been the swim coach at Memorial?
With Memorial, 15 is my year this year.
Yeah.
And with Edison, this is number 5.
5th year. Isn't that something?
And one thing, I also do the middle school team for TPS, and this is my 2nd or 3rd year. I forget. Right. I lose count.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And your real job is?
I do accounting work.
Yeah, exactly. So you stay busy with that, especially this time of the year, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Busy time. Well, as you look at the swim season and managing both schools and all 4 teams, what are the challenges from a coaching standpoint that you have with that?
Well, the biggest challenge is that Memorial is 5A and Edison is 6A this year. Mm-hmm. So I have to look at how they're going to compete and against who and schedule accordingly. Fortunately, there's a lot of very well blended swim meets to go to that have a lot of 5A and 6A at the swim meet. So that has been very good. Numbers are not as high as I would like to see them in team members. There's room for growth in both schools and in both teams, and so those are annual challenges.
They sure are. Well, and of course that didn't help any with the pandemic.
No, it did not. No, it did not.
Numbers in every program, I think, suffered a little bit through that 18 months.
Right. Interestingly, so this morning I had 2, a girl and a boy try out at Memorial.
Really?
Just this morning. So interest is there.
Sure.
Just late comers.
Yeah, right. How has the COVID affected your training schedule?
Well, we train early in the morning, and it hasn't really affected our training schedule. When the schools are at virtual status, I still train. because we have permission to.
Sure.
And so we just distance ourselves and work it out.
You know, that was one of the things that when this all really came down in June of the first year of the pandemic, and we had a number of meetings at the Education Service Center about what we were going to do academically and activities-wise and everything. And I've always thanked Dr. Guest and our Board of Education for allowing us to continue on with off-season programs that summer. And I told our coaches at that time, I said, you know, we're going to be the guinea pigs because we're going to have people in the building, and we're the only people that are in the building right now with temperature checks and all the 10 questions and everything that you had to do every time to get there. But I was so pleased that we were able to continue that for the mental health of our students, because they needed that camaraderie, I think. So how does that work as far as your practice schedule with two schools?
Well, I have 2 hours at 6:15. I have memorials and Edison. The returning swimmers come at 6:15, and they're mostly my seniors and the higher level performers. And then at 7:15, I have the newer swimmers and those that are anxious to get to the 6:15 schedule. But the 7:15 is really Edison's first hour program for swim. And that allows them to have time to transport back to school after practice.
I see. Okay. Well, Joanna, thank you for everything that you've done for the swim program. It's really been good, and we look forward to having you back maybe when we get the time for regional and that type of thing.
I would appreciate it.
All right.
I love it.
Well, we'll be right back with Adina Meilner, who is the head boys and girls swim coach at Booker T. Washington High School.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right, only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale's means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head boys and girls swim coach at Booker T. Washington, Adina Meilner. Adina, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How many years have you been the swim coach at Booker
Oh my
T?
gosh, 11. I think this is my
years.
11th year.
Fantastic. You've seen a lot of changes.
I have.
Over the time at there, and
Definitely.
Any changes to the facility?
I have, actually. So especially this summer, we were able to get the pool replastered, and we got new lights, so you can see in there. It's really amazing. But yeah, so now it kind of all pulled together because we've got blocks and flags, and now the new pool and the lane ropes, and so it looks really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
great. Still a great place to have a meet.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about your team this year. Your boys' numbers are a little down.
A little bit down, yeah. It's a little disheartening. We're hoping that maybe next year we get a whole bunch of boys to try out. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They're still the ones that are there, still trying really hard and just kind of swimming for their personal records and stuff like that. So,
how's your girls' program?
My girls' team is doing really well. We're not huge in numbers there either, but there's about 30 girls, and we've had some surprise endings to some of our swim meets. I think the first one was at the Bixby Invitational, and my girls won. And honestly, we didn't even expect it. So
Really?
it was quite a surprise as they were going through, and we were like, we still haven't been announced yet. And so it was very exciting to just get those small wins throughout the year before we head to state.
How is 6A swimming?
It's definitely a lot more challenging. The mindset has definitely changed. Before when we were 5A, and I took him quite a lot of years just to build up to 5A to get to the point that we were at. We weren't just going in and dominating or anything. It was always just, a roller coaster ride, and it was just the team pulling together, but the mindset became more about winning. And so once we became 6A, we had to change from that into more like personal records and what can we do. And the small wins became really exciting, like, oh, the relay made it, or 3 people made it into state. And so like the whole mindset completely changed, but still working as a team and having a good time.
Depth and numbers in 6A are always important, I think. Key.
Yes.
And then when you're one of the smallest 6A schools, it makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Who are some of the preeminent 6A boys and girls swim teams?
Jinx, Norman, Bartlesville. Those are always the ones that are pretty they're just so out of our league. And so and then it just kind of cascades from there, and it's definitely, sometimes we wish that we could have kind of like a sub 6A, kind of like football does.
Right.
And so those bigger schools can compete, and then you have kind of a little bit of the smaller schools, and then you can have the 5A for the smaller schools.
Sure. So is Edmond involved with that? Because
Edmond does pretty good, yes.
Big swim complex they built over there.
Yes, at the Y at the Mitch Park.
Right.
And we just had a meet up against them, and my girls had gotten second there.
I see.
So
Good.
yeah.
Well, who are some of your outstanding performers?
I have Lola Barker-Schaefer. She's quite the go-getter. She doesn't ever give up, and then Gus Rolston. Those probably like my 2 really big main swimmers, and I have quite a few others that are just always there, like Mackenzie Solcher and Parker Brobston. I have Willem Faulkner, and they all are always at all the practices and working their hearts out no matter what at every meet, and do anything that I ask of them to do.
You have a good summer program?
I normally do, yeah. This summer we didn't have a pool because it was completely drained. But we still had like a whole July dry land strength and conditioning program that we did.
Excellent.
And most of them all came. And it was actually a really good experience. I was able to use a lot of my knowledge from my classes that I took for my master's program and implement it into the team. And so it was exciting for me too. And the kids seemed to really enjoy it.
You completed your master's in what?
In sports administration
and
sports studies.
So you want to be an AD? Huh?
Sure.
One of these days. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, Adina, good luck.
Thank you.
On this year. Hope we have you back before the regional, and hope swimming goes well for you this year.
All right, thank you.
All right. When we come back, we'll have Derrick Gates, the wrestling coach at Will Rogers High School.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head wrestling boys and girls coach at Will Rogers High School, Derrick Gates. Derrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's wrestling season.
Yep. Best time of year.
Best time of the year, you bet. And you just come back off a break here after about a week and a half and so on. Let's talk about your wrestling team. You got both boys and girls. How is that working?
So it's going really well. Last year was our first year with the girls program. So, we kind of had to test a lot of different things, kind of figure out our flow and everything with that. And last year we found out just combining the practices, having the boys and the girls go at the same time was the easiest way. That way, all the girls that haven't been wrestling for very long, they see how, all the boys that have been acting and like how they go about practice. So, they learn like the atmosphere, the expectations and everything. So, we came into this year and we're like, let's try and do the same thing. And, last year we had 4 girls on the team. This year we have 13.
Right.
So we're getting the numbers up there, and they're all buying in, and
that's good.
Good
That's
feeling.
very good. I started the wrestling program at Coffeyville High School, Phil Kinley High School, in 1970. They had never had wrestling. They were the biggest school in the conference, and the first thing I did, because I didn't wrestle in high school, the first thing I did was I got them into the East Central tournament.
Okay.
And we wrestled Bartlesville, and then Ark City was the prominent wrestling school in Kansas.
Yeah,
and
just right down the road.
I thought it was really important for our kids to do what you said, to watch those other kids, how they wrestled and how the culture was and what they had to do to be able to be good. And, the second year, we won the conference championship.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we had kids that really bought into the program. So you've got a lot of kids in the room then.
Yeah. We've got, depending on the day, we've got between 35 and 40 kids.
Gee, many Christmas.
Yeah, between boys and girls.
That's really good numbers.
Yeah. It's the most we've had since I've been here, at least. So.
Well, we had the pandemic, which hurt numbers somewhat, and the virtual education, which hurt numbers a lot. As well as education, but with that many in the room, you ought to be able to get a lot of work done on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's your schedule look for the next 2 weeks? What do you got?
So here on Thursday, we go to Cassia Hall. They're a pretty solid team, so our boys are doing them, and then also our junior high's hopping in there. Then Friday and Saturday, our boys are going to Sand Springs, another really tough tournament. Pretty much the best teams in 5A are there. There's a couple really good 6A teams, a couple teams from Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas. So it's gonna be a pretty tough one. Should do pretty well though. Should pick up some real big wins there. Finishing out the month, we go to Pryor, we boys and girls, and then here at the start of February we have our own home tournament, which will be a boys tournament and a girls tournament. And then after that, we're looking on to regionals and state.
You bet. And do you have district duels as well?
Oh yes, that's next Thursday in Coweta.
And going to Coweta to do that. Okay. Well, as you look at the growth of your program, do you feel that you're making satisfactory progress in building the program?
Yeah, I would like to say so. I focus a lot more on making sure my kids are being good in the classroom, being good people. Because, when it comes to being successful and winning matches, I kind of put that on a back burner when it comes to a lot of things. I would rather my kids be very successful people, be good people, productive and everything. And winning the matches, that comes with it. If you're a good person, you do the right things, in the classroom, in the wrestling room, you're going to win the matches.
Sure. Let's talk about your background now. Where did you wrestle? And
so originally I'm from a small town of about 1,000 people right outside of Wichita, Kansas. I wrestled at Andale High School, and I was a one-time qualifier, and I placed third my senior year at state. After that, I got recruited, and I went and wrestled at Labette Community College.
Oh, yeah.
I was a 2-time academic All-American, 2-time national qualifier, 1-time All-American there, and then I transferred from there up to Fort Hays State and wrestled there for a year.
Did you?
Yeah.
My grandson plays football at Fort Hays State.
Oh, it's a great program up
Yeah.
there. They're tough. They're real tough.
It's a neat school. It's
Yeah.
a really good
Yeah.
place.
It's windy, but
Yeah, well, there's nothing out there.
there's
no
not a
trees,
tree, nothing.
anything. But when we drove out there to see him play this last year, when it said it's the largest town west of Wichita, I thought, oh my goodness.
And that's not saying much, to be honest.
No, it's not. Well, as you get ready to prepare for the regional and everything, do you have kids you think that'll make it to the state tournament?
Yeah, we should have quite a handful of it. We didn't graduate a single person last year, so we're bringing back on the boys' side our qualifier, Josiah Rhodes. He's still looking really good. He's only got one loss on the season to the kid that placed third last year from Sepulpa. He's got some quality wins over some really good people already. Mm-hmm. Down in our lower weights, Alex Patrick, he's a senior at 113. He's looking real solid. He's getting over that hump and everything. Robert Brown at 132, Isaac Arcee at 138. They're both real solid kids. Robert took 6th at regionals last year.
Actually,
got to place top 5 to qualify though.
Yeah, right.
So he was right there in line. Isaac, unfortunately, when we went to our regionals last year, they were doing temperature checks at the door. He was running a little bit of a fever, so he didn't get to compete last year, but he was right there in line. He's another tough kid.
Well, good. Well,
we've got a couple others spread throughout there that should turn
hopefully we
some
can
heads.
have you back when we get to regional time and talk about those kids, how well they did.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here today.
I really appreciate it.
Good luck.
Yep, thank you, sir.
When we come back, we'll have Nicholas Evans, the wrestling coach at McLean High School.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Our next guest was supposed to be Nicholas Aves, but he couldn't be here today, so we're going to have Michael Gray, the head coach at Hale. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks, sir. How you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. I tell you what, we're middle of January. We're just really in the thick of wrestling season now. Yep. How long have you been the wrestling coach at Hale?
About 13 years. This is my 14th year, so I've been there quite a while.
Yeah. Have you seen the program grow?
Yes, sir. When I restarted back up, Chris Johnson was principal back then, and we started with just 4 guys, and we've built and grown it and everything. And ultimate goals, is to get it back to the old days. When
Sure.
Hale was one of the powerhouses.
Now you have boys and girls.
Yes, sir.
And the girls, what's the second year for the state championship in girls and everything.
Yeah, we've got 3 girls. They're pretty tough.
Are they?
Yeah, I've got one, Leandra Ortiz. She loves running old barbed wire, So they kind of remind me of old time wrestlers.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Now, are there a lot of opportunities for them to wrestle?
Yeah, quite a few. It's not as many as I'd like. I'm gonna have to try to find some more, girls tournaments, in the next coming years. A lot of them are just kind of thrown together, I've noticed. So, but it's growing.
It's a growing sport. Yeah, it's supposedly one of the fastest growing sports in the United States today.
Yeah, it really is.
So let's talk about your boys team a little bit. Who are your outstanding wrestlers?
Well, the ones you need to look at this year, Noah Caballero, he's a senior, and I've got a little sophomore coming along, Dominic Ludwig and Elijah Weathers. They're going to be, they're just sophomores, so they're going to be with me 2 more years. But Noah, we're kind of hoping he makes the final push to get, the state tournament this year.
Excellent. So you have, what do you have up scheduled in the next couple of weeks?
We were supposed to go to Holbert today for Duel, and that kind of fell through. Thursday we're going to Chandler, And then next week on the 18th is district duels at our place.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then the 22nd will be our annual Ray Murphy Jr. Classic wrestling tournament. So
now let's talk about the Ray Murphy Classic. A lot of people probably know the name but don't know the background.
Ray Murphy, he graduated from Hale High School and went on to Oklahoma State. He was an All-American, and unfortunately, he broke his neck in 1970 and spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He's a really great man. I knew him when I was younger. I went to church with him. And, when I got the job at Hale, that's kind of my, I always wanted to start a tournament, and I said, what better man to name it after, So,
Sure.
Yeah.
I know that J.B. Haney, a good friend of mine, always visited with Ray, and they became pretty close over the years with that.
Right.
Well, as you look at the future, how has the COVID problem that we've had across the country, how has that affected your program?
Last year it really affected it hard. Being on distance learning and everything, and trying to get kids up there to practice, and a lot of the stuff we went to, we usually went to was canceled. So, we made adjustments, and this year's a lot better, I mean, it's the COVID aspect's still there, but it's not, how do you say it? Not really in your face, hardcore like it used to be.
Day to day.
Yeah.
As you plan your practices and everything, what effect has that had on the conditioning and everything?
Well, we make sure naturally that we, sanitize a lot more than we used to. We mop the mats more often in between sessions, like when junior high comes in, things like that. Separate water bottles, the days of drinking out of the water fountain are gone. So, things like that, just making sure cleanliness is, number one factor.
Sure. And you mentioned your junior high. How's that junior high program going?
Well, first year we've got 4 kids out, and we're it's off a slow start. But I always like to say, being a history teacher, Rome wasn't built in a day, so we'll get it up and running.
That's one of the things that people don't realize is, excuse me, so important is that feeder program. You've got to have that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And with the junior high being right there, almost on same campus.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
Makes it a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What other things do you do at Hale?
Right this year I'm teaching driver's ed and personal financial literacy, but before that I've been history teacher all those years. So we're trying to rebuild, the driver's ed program, give kids an option, for a good elective that they want to take.
That's a good thing. I know when I first came back in 2012 was the last year that we had driver's ed.
Yeah.
And I kind of inherited that to close that program
right
down. Didn't really have anything to do with it, but that's what but I think that's a really good addition back to the curriculum now. I think to have that available, because the driving schools are pretty expensive.
Oh, they are.
They
really
for the
are.
kids to do that and be able to have the free public education. Well, Michael, we're glad you're here today. Good luck. I hope the season turns out well, and hopefully we have you back at the end when we get ready for regional.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back after these messages with Gary Roberts, the head wrestling coach and athletic director at East Central High School.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, Plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head wrestling coach and director of athletics at East Central High School, Gary Roberts. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gil.
Glad you're here, and boy, it's wrestling season, and I'm sure you're busy as the head wrestling coach and the athletic director and building a new building.
Right. It's a great time, though. Wrestling's going really well. We've had 2 dual meets so far. We beat Okmulgee and Holbert, so we're 2-0.
Excellent.
And we had a decent showing at the Okmulgee tournament. We had a kid get 3rd, and then I think we had 4 kids get 5th. So we're doing pretty good. We've only got 2 seniors. We got a young team.
Good. How are your numbers? Pretty good?
Numbers are pretty good. We've got 16 kids out. We wrestle Morris actually today. I'm going to start 6 freshmen, 5 sophomores, 1 junior, and 2 seniors.
Gee whiz. Yeah.
So it's a good young team. It's a fun team. They show up every day. They're yes sir, no sir. They love wrestling, and it's really a fun time for me over at East Central because this group of kids that I've got is as good a group as I've had as far as just like making their grades and showing up every day and just being good kids.
Have the pandemic had any effect on your program?
It did. The last couple of years been tough. It's been hard for me to put teams together the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, everyone was kind of scared of it. Nobody was wanting to do anything. And it's hard to get kids to show up. And then kids were online. They were confused about what to do with school, I think. But now that they're back at it, I think they're more motivated to because they're getting to, participate again,
right.
and it's exciting for them. And I think it's really helped.
Well, that's
a lot.
great. So,
hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, well, that'll be the thing.
That's what.
Now, when is your district duel?
2 weeks. We'll have Collinsville, who's the #1 team in the state. They are absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
They're a great team. And then Nathan Hale and Bishop Kelly.
Okay. And that'll be at where?
That'll be at Nathan Hale, actually.
Nathan Hale, that's right. Okay, good.
The 18th.
Well, that's a good short trip for you.
Right.
Don't have too many of those, it seems like, in 5A.
I like it.
So as you get into your regular season, who are some of your outstanding student athletes?
Well, one of the seniors we have, D'Angelo Jones-Tate. He's been with me 5 years now, and he's a good leader on our team. He's a hard-working kid. And he's got a good chance to qualify for state this year. Well, I've been real proud of him for what he's done.
Good.
Done a great job.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got a junior, Mitch Cunningham. He actually moved over from, let's see, I drew a blank, from Pryor. A couple years ago, he's a football player, and I found out he wrestled too, and he came in this year, and he's just one of them kids that just is a great leader on the team. He's really grabbed a hold of our freshmen and really started helping, guide them in the right direction, and he's done a great job for us. One of our best kids, probably a sophomore, Travis Rogers, 160-pounder. He's got a lot of upside to him. He's a receiver on the football team, and he's just a hard-working kid that just makes straight A's and does everything you want, and good athlete. And it's fun to coach.
That's really good. I think that one of the things you've mentioned there is that I think it's good that the kids are involved in multiple sports.
Right.
I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the program. It ties it together. But it also, you never know, where a kid really may have some talent that they don't know. And the specialization thing has gotten totally out of control.
Right.
I think it's a difficult thing for kids to be put in that position where they have to do year-round in a sport. And the physiologists have indicated that it's not as good for them, for those muscle groups to always be in the same type of skill set. So that's good. I'm glad that you have some kids. Well, in the last minute and a half we got here, let's talk about that new building. I drove out there this morning and took a look at it, and boy, it is ominous.
Yeah, I'm just surprised how big it is. It's just like as big as the main building almost. It's going to be so good. I mean, we're so excited about that. The whole community's excited, and we're so grateful, and thank the community so much for making this happen. It's going to be great for the kids.
Oh, it'll be fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about the programming in there, because it's you'll have 2 gym sites. Is that correct?
2 gymnasiums, a wrestling room, full locker rooms for all the sports, for volleyball, basketball, wrestling, and it's going to have a full weight room, which is actually going to be ran by the YMCA. So it's going to be a top-notch deal, and I think you guys had a lot to do with that. You guys really helped us out on that.
Yeah, it was a joint situation with the Y that kind of mirroring what had occurred at union in the UCAT over there. It's one of those great things where they maintain it, they provide the equipment and the supervision, and of course our kids have first right in that facility, when we schedule and so on. So I think it's going to be a great thing for the community. The Y itself will draw people to campus, I think, which is important to get people coming back to the campuses and so on, especially through the pandemic, losing those people there. Well, Gary, good luck. I hope everything goes well this year, and hopefully we can have you back before the regional tournament.
All right.
When we come back, we'll have Rob Biggins, the head wrestling coach at Webster High School.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right, only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have Rob Biggins, the Director of Athletics and the head wrestling coach at Daniel Webster High School. Rob, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. It's wrestling time.
It is wrestling time. I tell you what, it's that time of the year. We had a little break there over the winter break, and now we're back. So how's wrestling going?
We've got our pluses and our minuses. Speaking of the winter break, I had one wrestling related. Broke my pinky back 90 degrees. I had to have surgery. I've never had surgery in my life. I've been coaching since I was 17 years old. But enough about me.
There you go.
We've got a couple of guys that are really doing an outstanding job so far this year. We dropped down to 3A this year, and that's our first time in 3A. So instead of having a 4-team district, we now have an 8-team district, which dropped down to 7 because I guess Keys didn't pull a team this year. So we went out and had our first quad, but we wrestled 4, so I guess it was probably more than a quad. But we went 3-1 with one of our young men and 4-0 with Ryan McClary. Jose Cruz got off to a little bit of a rough start this year, but has come back to more than even his record. He's at 132. Being a former wrestling coach, every linebacker, every defensive back comes down from 150 to 132.
Exactly.
And, there's just a bunch of mean, tough kids there. And Jose is double tough, not so much mean. He's a nice kid, but he can turn it on when he needs to. But he's doing well. I expect that as we get in deeper to our season, it's gonna be tough for everybody. We've got some really tough tournaments coming up. We like to kind of test ourselves before we get to the regional. Ryan McClary, that's who broke my pinky, and we went to the Cleveland tournament, and he made flat weight first try. Didn't have to do anything extra. We were just so excited. Got out there to wrestle, and it's like he just got lost. It was the weirdest thing. He just got glazed over. He looked really dehydrated, which he wasn't, and got pinned. First match out of the game. This is a state qualifier now, and I had no idea where this was coming from. So we gave him some water and put him to sleep. Came back and pinned his next 3 opponents in less than 25 seconds each. Goes into the consolation finals for 3rd place against the kid that pinned him, and it took him 28 seconds to pin him.
Oh, gee.
So I guess I guess it was just a long summer.
Yeah, it wasn't ready.
No,
it wasn't really ready.
Yeah, but I tell you, he was awake for those next four.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into the regional, and he pinned all four of his guys in the regional, or not the regional, the district, and our district pairings. Has not made it out of the first period since his first match that he lost. But other than that, it's I don't know that he's gone past 30 seconds.
Gee.
But he's 113 pounds. He's a senior. He's 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Bench presses 135 pounds for 10 reps, and squats 205 for reps. I mean, it's nearer than a full-grown man. And as you know, 106, 113. A lot of times you can get.
Oh man.
You'll get a freshman that doesn't have hair on his legs yet.
Especially when you're 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really good. What's the level of wrestling in 3A? I'm not that familiar with 3A.
I'll tell you what, I would rather wrestle 5A all day long.
Really?
And I don't mean to disparage 5A, because there's a bunch of tough guys out there at 5A, but it's kind of more hit and miss. 3A, I mean, it's a lot of farm towns.
Mm-hmm.
And if those farming communities, those kids are just born tough, and then they work on the farm to get tough.
Right.
And so they're just tough. And then a lot of times they have a lot of good coaching out there as well. And when you got kids that really want to, and they wrestle all summer, and then they show up at 3A, there's just around every corner is just a tough kid.
Who are some of the leaders in 3A?
Blackwell is always towards the top. Jay won it all last year. So Isaac Wilson from over there, he has been kind of waiting in the wings for several years. He started at the elementary, then he did elementary in the middle school, then he did elementary, middle school, and assistant varsity, and now he's a varsity coach. And his first year, I think it was his first full year on the job, he won it all. But he had brought everybody with him.
Right.
And he was always friends with him on Facebook, and I do know him a little personally, but he's always taking the kids everywhere, and that's what you have to do. It's summer is where you build winter champions.
I'll never forget the years I was at Union. We had a young man named Brent Ferguson, and Brent Ferguson for us would be 32-0, but his overall record would be 150-0 because he wrestled in the off season all summer long and ended up going to Cornell and was a wrestler at the Division I level. But those things were really interesting. I think another one of our student athletes, Todd Steinle, who is now the head wrestling coach at UCO, who was the principal at Claremore for about 5 years, was one of our running backs and wrestlers at Union. And it was funny, he signed a scholarship to play football and hated it, and ended up being an All-American at UCO, and now he's the coach. But well, Rob, it's great to have you here, and hopefully we can have you back. We get close to that 3A regional and state tournament.
Well, I'll you know where I'm at.
Absolutely. Good to have you here, and when we come back, we'll have Mick Wilson, the Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we conclude our show today with the Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Mick Wilson. Mick, we're going to change pace. We've had swimming and wrestling on today's show, but we need to talk about the Tournament of Champions. What a great event this year down at the BOK.
Well, Gil, first of all, thanks for having me once again on Inside Tulsa Athletics. And as we begin our new year, thanks to our guys off the set, Ricky and Dennis, do a great job here, and we continue along with. I'm glad you're able to stay aboard and help keep the show moving forward. And it's been good this year. So, but no, to go back and talk about tournament champions, I mean, there's not a lot that needs to be said. It was an outstanding event. I've gotten lots of phone calls, text messages, emails about how well it was conducted. And now that's only really a testament to our staff because they do such a good job and work hard at it, but really to the BOK Center and SMG folks. They really rolled out the red carpet and showed us a really good time. They were organized, very accommodating in so many ways. So it was just a great event, a great venue. And in fact, we debriefed with them last week. And the first question was, are you ready to come back? And what can we do to make it better next year? So I think they've got some great ideas. We'll continue to grow it and make it better. But it was just a great event this year and one that we're really pleased with.
Well, I'm glad they're excited about it because that is a great venue for those kids. And it lends to really the credibility of that tournament. I can think back in knowing Doug Duggar as I did, as close a friend as he was of mine. I bet he would be so proud today that has grown from that gym in the building at Memorial down to the BOK Center.
Gil, to think that he had the foresight to be able to see into the future of something that would be not only a great event, but the matchups and the whole idea is really phenomenal. It's one that has transcended time, and we hope to be able to continue to do that and make it better and add things as we move along. But it's just been such a great event, and people hold it dear, especially people that are in the Memorial community, the Memorial family. Know what it has meant to not only to their school but to the district over the years. And it's one that I just think that we as a district in Tulsa Public Schools put our best foot forward with this event, and it's really a great shines through our mission to be able to give kids a great experience not only in our district and in our county but throughout the state. And it's just been really good. I
think that's exactly right, throughout the state, because in this year the scenario really played to the David and Goliath. We had a 5A boy and a 3A girls team win the tournament this year.
We did. The big schools don't always hold court, so to speak, as we've seen over the years. Like I said, whether it's been the year that Roland boys upset Union and was a great game in overtime, or you see when the Sealing girls have been here and made a great run, and then of course this year with 3A Lincoln Christian girls getting to the finals against Bixby. It just makes for a great format. It makes for a great story, and I tell you what, not only do their fans really get into it, but the basketball purists, people that really enjoy watching basketball, love to get out and see that. And that was one thing that we had, the late minute cancellation of class and SAS not being able to be here due to COVID. I had a lot of people really were disappointed because not only do they want to see good basketball, they wanted to see the class and SAS girls because they're nationally ranked.
Right.
So we had some disappointment there, but again, our Booker T folks helped us out there at the last minute and were able to jump in. But it just shows that the basketball fans really appreciate the tournament champions.
So your plans have already started for next year?
We have. We were starting making phone calls. I've been making phone calls today. You once again have to kind of do the dance of who's going to be really good, but not only are they good this year, but you want them to be good next year. So you got to, that age-old question: well, how many seniors or how many starters are you losing? Do you return a bulk of your lineup? So those questions you've got to kind of dance around and figure out. But once you've got that and you feel like you've got a good knowledge of that team, the interest of the coach, because obviously the coach doesn't want to bring a team here that's going to be in their eyes, maybe not as good as the teams they've had in the past. They don't want to come and take three whoopings if they're not going to.
Somebody's going to. Though.
That's right. If they're not going to be good enough to handle it. So most of the coaches are usually pretty right on, and they don't oversell themselves, and they understand that there's a certain level that they need to perform to when they come to the tournament champions. So we've been making those calls here this week.
Good. That's an exciting time. Anything else relevant to the tournament champions we need to know about?
No, I think we're going to try to maybe look at some different things next year, entertainment-wise. We got some great comments on having the Oklahoma City Thunder entertainment crew here that has gone over real well. We've talked about having maybe some either a music group or some rappers, hip-hop type artists involved to do half times or even in between games and things like that. So we're going to continue to try to make it better, make it more fan friendly, and make it something that the kids can enjoy. And then when they're not playing, be able to do some things here in Tulsa. So as we move forward, maybe some partnerships with some local entities, much like we've had with Incredible Pizza.
What dates are you looking at?
Well, we're down to 2 different dates. It's all going to be the same. It'll either be 27, 28, and 29, which will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And ideally, I would like the other, which would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which would be 28, 29, and 30. That keeps us of not having to have teams travel on Christmas Day, which we had in the past, and I'm not crazy about because they need their family time.
Sure.
And it also keeps us off of New Year's Eve if we go the other route, because a lot of times the hotel wants you out,
right,
and they want to get their rooms ready for all the people that are going to partake in the nightlife of New Year's Eve. So I'm hoping that we'll get the 28, 29, and 30 seems to be what we're after. They've got a couple of events that could maybe come to fruition with them, so they may have to massage things on their end, but they're also working. Remember, we have to kind of work around the Oilers hockey team as well, so there'll be some things there that we need to get done, but I feel confident that they can do that.
Okay, well, very good. We'll be back after these messages and finish up with Mick Wilson.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale's means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we continue now with Mick Wilson, Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. And Mick, one of the things that we always had in our office, and you still have, is construction. Let's talk about construction, and because the patrons of the district were so kind to be able to vote on those bond issues for us and for our kids.
Gail, it's always it always makes you feel good that the people really support our endeavors athletically, all the activities in the district, and they really show up during bond elections and pass those bonds for us so that we're able to do some really, really fun things and neat things for our kids and give them great facilities that they're proud of. And we continue right now as we've got several projects. We're finishing up several projects that we'll begin starting when the weather gets a little warmer. But yeah, it's another exciting time.
Well, we've got the biggest project right now. It would be the Central Arena. I drove out there this morning, and how impressive is that going to be?
Gil, I've been trying to drive by and keep myself away from the last couple of weeks. It's going to be exciting to have such a nice gym to be able to host things, not only for our teams to play in, but really to host events. And I think it's going to be an ideal spot for us to be able to host a tournament or any type of OSSA activity, being right off I-44. Now you look over the top of Daylight Donut and you can see you definitely can see the gymnasium.
The high rise is up.
It's it's going to be a really great venue, and of course we're getting ready to put together our naming committee, which you're familiar with that process. So we're going to go through that, whether we name it for someone or whether we just name it a particular name for that matches the bill, matches the school. We're going to do that and put that together. So I'm excited. I can't wait to get in there and see. And of course our partnership there, Gil, which you were instrumental in being a part of with the YMCA. There in East Tulsa is going to be another, what I think, a no-brainer. It'll be a great win for kids in the community of East Tulsa.
Great for the community. I think that's the big. It gets people coming back to our campus, and I think that's always important to have that support. What are summer projects? We got Rogers on there?
We do. We're looking at replacing the Rogers turf. We're ready to, I think Chris is ready to put those out to bid. That's our bond folks, and as well as Hale. And it's hard to believe it's time to replace Rogers. I remember, Gil, when that first went down, and we had to go call you to take a look because someone had set the turf on fire.
Set it on fire.
They tried to burn some clothes or something, and it was something silly that we had to go replace that. And that seems like yesterday, but it's hard to believe it's been almost 10 years ago.
And that's gone away. That was one of the issues that we had at that particular facility, that there was vandalism there. And now since we built the stadium there, we haven't had any vandalism.
Well, it helps that we obviously keep it locked up, but I think that the patrons in the community have really grown some pride, or had some additional pride now that they see the stadium. Maybe the homeowners initially didn't know what to think with the stadium coming part of that community, but now it's there, and I think we have a lot of pride. Maybe it's even some self-patrolling, that people really want to take care of that, and we still have people that want to go down and walk on the track and use that. So there's just some real general pride in that area, and I really appreciate all the people in that neighborhood and the community that lifted that up.
I think it's went well to the neighborhood.
It really has, Gil. I think those people appreciate that and what we've done. And then, of course, the Hale turf will be replaced, and that's been good for Hale High School to be able to have a turf field there on campus that they can practice. And then we are talking about their maybe kind of desiring to go back and participate back at East Central for next season in football. So we're in those talks right now, be able to do that rather than using the Rogers. I think they feel like maybe it's a little more accessible proximity-wise to go over to East Central rather than go to Rogers. So we'll see how that shakes out as we move forward, but we're excited about their turf.
And then in the last 30 seconds, we've got that big project at Hale in a couple of years.
We do. We're excited to see what's going to happen with an indoor soccer facility that'll also have a practice gymnasium, and it's also going to help them with their locker situation, because the locker situation at Hale has not been good.
And a commons area for the students.
It'll be really nice, and look forward to seeing the drawings as that continues to move forward.
Well, that'll be great. We'll have you back again when we talk all about these things. And when we come back, we'll close out the show.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
We certainly hope you enjoyed today's show. Oklahoma's premier high school basketball tournament, the 56th Annual Tournament of Champions, presented by Tulsa Tech, was held at the BOK Center December 27th through December 29th. 16 of the best high school teams in Oklahoma were in the tournament. The prestigious championship was won this year in the girls bracket by the Bixby Lady Spartans, and in the boys bracket by the Del City High School Eagle basketball team. What an outstanding tournament. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more Inside Tulsa Athletics. Hope you have a great new year, and please remember, support high school athletics, swimming, basketball, wrestling for this winter season. Our student athletes need your help, our students need your support, and we certainly appreciate you attending those games on our campus.